students do not come to your class knowing how to do it by themselves. Right? Very often they come in without any preparations. Nobody has taught them before how to do reflections and how to do it deeply. So the teacher has to teach it consciously, intentionally. Otherwise, it's very hard for students to learn it on their own. You cannot just give them a sheet of paper and say, oh, write down your reflections. Right? That won't work. For most students anyway. So the teacher has to be conscious of what do you want the students to do. What kind of reflections, what kind of questions are they supposed to think about? What aspects are they supposed to think about? Is it technical about the content, about the interactions with people, understanding the community, understanding the impact that they are creating, whether the impacts are short-term, long-term? Those are all things that you have to teach intentionally. So the teacher has to be aware of that. And the teacher has to come up with a system to guide the students. And then you have to give them time. You have to be patient with the students because this is something very new, very alien to them. So you have to give them step by step, let them get into doing deeper and more impactful reflections. And there are many ways to do that, right? Very often we use group discussions to help them to bring out the ideas, to compare ideas, to stimulate each other. So group discussions are very useful. At the same time, you also want the students to do it on their own. Give them time and space. One thing that we do is we allocate, say, half an hour. Everybody sits down, give them a piece of paper. They're not supposed to talk to each other, but during this time, they are focused on reflecting, what did I do? What did I do today? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What did blah, blah, blah. But you have to give them the space and the time. Very often the students are so busy, so distracted. If you give them, give them an assignment and to write a piece of reflection, very often they don't do it until the last minute, and then they do it in a rush and they don't do it well. So sometimes the teachers have to help them to give them allocate some certain time and space and create a quiet environment so that they can focus on doing it, right? So there are different aspects. Sometimes they have to do it individually by themselves. Sometimes you want to give them a group discussion. So those are all things that can help. There is also one practice that we find particularly useful. Very often the students, they find it difficult to understand what this teacher's expectations are, right? Even though we explain to them, the reflection has to be deep and broad, and you think about long-term impact, short-term impact on different aspects, blah, 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 it is still kind of abstract. So one thing that we find very useful is to give them a piece of real reflection. For example, some assignment that the previous cohort of students have done after their service experience. Give them a real piece of reflection written by real students, and then ask them to grade them. And before they grade them, you probably have to give them the criteria. What are the criteria that you are using? Like sometimes we call it the metrics that we used. What qualifies as an A, what qualifies as a B, but these are all descriptions. Now they have to apply this description, these metrics to a real piece of work. And through the process, they begin to understand what does it mean to be A grade, B grade, C grade, and failure, and so on. And then you can discuss it. There are always different interpretations of the same sentence, and so the teacher so now they have a piece of concrete thing that you can say, okay, well, based on this sentence, the students may say, oh, this is really good, A. And then the teacher may say, no, according to my understanding, this is at best a B. Why? Why is that there's a disagreement? How can we resolve it? Is it because we apply the criteria differently, or it may be subjective, and so on and so on? And through this way, the teacher can convey in a more concrete way what are the expectations. The students can begin to understand, okay, what are we supposed to do? And we find it very useful.